welcome into Colts Talk by Chat Sports. Billy Beebe back with you. Great to be talking Indianapolis Colts football. On today's show, a little bit to cover with the Daniel Jones injury, his Achilles tear, where he kind of stands as of right now. We got some recent reports about how he's feeling and some opinions from others. Also, Field Yates gave a 2-round mock draft, dropped that the other day. The key here, when there's a 2 or 3 round mock draft, we got to jump on it because the Colts don't have a first round pick. Beginning with DJ, the situation with Daniel Jones. We kind of know what happened, right? Last season, the injury after 13 games, he was battling. He was fighting to play more for the Colts. You get into a little bit of contract drama this offseason, but he gets the largest 2-year deal in NFL history. $88 million, could get up to $100, and he's going to get $50 million in this next season. And again, he had already broken his fibula. Then he kept playing, and he ends up with the Achilles tear. So that's what Daniel Jones is recovering from as of right now. And we haven't gotten a ton of updates, which is why today's report is going to be great to discuss. But first, do something for me. If you believe in Daniel Jones, if that's your guy, if you think he can do it, come back and get it done for the Colts next season, like the video. Show us that you believe in Daniel Jones right now. All right, so ESPN's Stephen Holder wrote a great article. Theme of the article was essentially why the Colts were okay paying Daniel Jones during his recovery. Within the article, gave some really great quotes from Daniel Jones, Chris Ballard, and a doctor giving more information on the Daniel Jones recovery and situation. That is Dr. Tim Kremchek, who actually works with the Cincinnati Reds primarily, but was involved here. He said, I don't think it's unreasonable to think he might start opening day for them, meaning the Colts. Once you get past that 3-month mark, you're pretty much golden. It's really hard to hurt them again after 3 months. That's a great quote. Then you get Chris Ballard. Look, this one's plain and simple, right? We feel good about where he is and where he's going. Good news, good news. Now you go to Daniel Jones. Let me give you some more good news. Daniel Jones says, I'm in a good spot. I think I'm on schedule. I've hit my marks, and I just have to continue to do that. I feel good with where I am right now. You heard Dr. Kremchek mention this. You also heard Daniel Jones mention hitting a mark. That 3-month mark mentioned multiple times in the article, again, by Daniel Jones, Dr. Kremchek. The example of why that matters is Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson re-injured himself before hitting that 3-month mark. So it's important to hit that mark without being hurt, with rehab going well, and that has happened for Daniel Jones. And actually, that's when he got his new contract, right after he hit that 3-month mark. So the Colts obviously comfortable as well, giving him that money with him making it 3 months outside that injury without re-rupturing it or re-tearing it, however you want to put it there. Now, the modern medicine side of all this, and I'm not saying nothing's painful and nothing's not tough to come back from, but modern medicine has made it better for these players to return from injuries like this, right? You get better seasons, better comebacks, better futures with today's modern medicine. We actually have 2 examples, both from 2024, both quarterbacks with Achilles injuries. These guys bounced back, had, you can say what you want about the win totals and things like that, but these guys got back to playing a lot of good competitive football. Aaron Rodgers, Kirk Cousins, bounce-back seasons for those guys. Both were in 2024, actually, too. So Rodgers had a little more time to recover than Jones did. We've actually compared Kirk Cousins to the Daniel Jones situations more than once here on Colts Talk. But Daniel Jones on pace right now to be back and ready to roll in 2026. However, if you had to give a percentage chance that Daniel Jones plays week 1 for the Colts, what do you think? Let us know down below. Will Daniel Jones start week 1? Give us a percent chance down below. All right, and then as I said earlier, Colts don't have a first-round pick. Any mock draft that's into the 2nd or 3rd round, I'm jumping on, and I want to talk about here on the show because it's tough to get those 2- and 3-round mock drafts just because, it gets a little crazy at that point in time. ESPN's Field Yates dropped a 2-round mock draft. That means the Colts were involved with pick number 47. I'm going to be honest, this one surprised me, caught me off guard, and was definitely a new name entered into the equation. With that 47th pick, Field Yates selects Caleb Banks, the defensive tackle from Florida. Now, I will say, before we get to what Field Yates said about Caleb Banks and the pick, it's kind of a value thing, right? If Caleb Banks is still there, you got to jump on it, right? That was kind of Field Yates thinking, and I can definitely see it from that angle. But what he had to say specifically, breaking down Banks and his fit with the Indianapolis Colts at pick 47, Field Yates saying, could Banks be long gone before this? It's possible, but Banks recently underwent a foot procedure and was limited to just 3 games in 2025. 6'6", 327 pounds, and has a 35-inch arms to give him pass rushing upside. And then he notes DeForest Buckner, returning from neck injury. The Colts need youth at defensive tackle. That's kind of the lowdown on Banks. Not much last season because of the foot injury, as Field Yates noted. So yeah, that's going to be a part of the equation, is a major foot injury to a big guy, right? That's not easily recovered from. However, you like what he did in 2024. You thought he would do more in 2025, and those two things kind of clashed a little bit with each other just because of the injury. It's tough to tell. Overall, his career at Florida, this is a good SEC defensive tackle that can get after the quarterback. A lot of time, defensive tackle-wise, you're taking a guy to plug holes and cause misdirection or just take up some offensive line room. No, Caleb Banks can get after the quarterback with the pressures specifically. He's done a very, very good job there. Give it a grade, the selection of Caleb Banks by Field Yates. Caleb Banks, the defensive tackle at pick 47. Grade it A, B, C, D, or F. Let us know what you think. All right, for me, my immediate reaction, reading the breakdown and learning more about Caleb Banks, the size, very, very intriguing, right? Obviously, you want that 4 defensive tackle, but again, that 6'6", 300-plus pounds, very intriguing, very, very interesting. And again, like Field Yates said, if he's still there, you really have to consider it, because this is a guy on a lot of boards is in the top 30, top 40 of the players in the draft. So if you can get him at 47, pretty impressive. Something you may have to jump on. That's serious value to get a top 25 player at pick number 47. However, defensive tackle is not a need for the Indianapolis Colts. It's just not. They added a ton of defensive linemen in free agency. They also kind of have their 2 starters already. And I know you go 3, 4, 5 deep on the defensive tackle spot, but they have DeForest Buckner and they have Grover Stewart. I mean, they're pretty set at defensive tackle to use what would be your first pick of the NFL draft on defensive tackle. Seems a little wild to me. You'd have to really believe in Caleb Banks. You'd have to feel really, really good about what you're getting to take him at 47, because you have to hit with that 47th pick. It's your first pick in the draft. It's your most valuable pick in the draft. It needs to be a day 1 starter for you, which is why I'm still thinking, they have to go linebacker here. They got to be thinking linebacker in this situation. I want the Colts to go linebacker. I've considered, Banks and upside and size. They need to fill that linebacker spot, and I think Chris Ballard should go linebacker at pick 47. But Caleb Banks, a name to know going into the draft. All right, glad to bring you the latest with the Indianapolis Colts here on Colts Talk. Shout out Aiden Priest for producing today's video. All the best, all the greatest with the Colts when you hit that sub button for free.